if you're like me, I have tea on this side
There we go.
and I have a water bottle because I know where it comes from on the other side.
There we go. Yeah, well, double espresso and a water here. And then my big, horrible orange bottle over here, but it doesn't look great on a podcast when I drink out of that. So I just, I go the mug with the photos of my daughters on there, which makes me very happy.
That's cute.
Yeah, I know. That's my little daughters. That's Ollie and Ava, my twin girls.
Wow.
And they're in the other room causing havoc right now. So hopefully background noise is okay. But we're all live. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready when you are.
Awesome. Well, welcome back to the Coaches to the Moon podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm joined by Rebecka. I'm very sorry, Rebecka Vigus or Vigus.
Vigus.
I'm joined by Rebecka Vigus. Thank you so much for that. She's a retired teacher turned writing coach with 13 books under her belt. And she's here to talk to us today about how aspiring writers can find their voice, finish their books, and get published. So all the way from Nanty, Kentucky, Rebecka, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for asking. Writing's my passion. I've been doing it for 58 years. I started at age 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a teacher that told me with my imagination, he'd see me in books. I believed him. And my parents didn't discourage it. So yeah, I took every writing class I could as an undergrad. In my master's program, because I was getting a master's in reading and learning disabilities, there was how to process write and teach a whole group how to write, which that amazed me because every time my high school teacher said, clear off your desk, take out a blank sheet of paper and your pen, my mind went just as blank as the paper. And then they would put 5 or 6 different topics up there and say, choose one to write about. And I'm going, seriously? These don't interest me.
Right.
Where did you get these topics? But I would eventually pick one. And if I could get away with writing a poem, I did, which was not always going to fly because sometimes she wanted, the 5-paragraph essay. Please throw that out. It's like worthless.
Why?
It does not teach you how to write. It teaches you how to make writing a chore.
Okay.
There's a difference. I tell all of my clients, the first thing I want them to do is get notebook paper. I don't care if it's a spiral notebook, if it's loose leaf, get notebook paper. And every morning, I said, I don't even care if you have to get up a half an hour early. Every morning with your cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever it is you're drinking, your smoothie, I don't care. You are going to handwrite 3 of those pages back in front.
So 6 pages.
Yeah, you're actually writing 6 pages. And what you are doing is taking everything that's in your mind, an argument you had with your significant other, financial issues, something's wrong at work, you've got this annoying coworker that just drives you nuts. It all goes on this sheet of paper, these sheets of paper. And you write and you write and you write everything until your mind has nothing less left to give. Because now all the stuff that's bugging you is not bugging you. It's not there anymore. And you have a clear mind headed into work to have a wonderful day. The other thing is you may find an idea in this when you go back and read it later. This is not for publication. This is not for anyone else to read. This is yours. And you're going to put it away in the morning and go about your day. If you want to take it out at night and read through it again and say, wow, I really felt this way this morning. or geez, that's an idea I can put to use. That's what you do. The other thing I suggest is get a little 3x5 notebook. And if an idea comes to you, write it down, like right then. And a friend said she has notes on her phone and puts them in there. That's perfect.
Yep. That's
So
mine's full.
whichever is most convenient, do that.
So basically you're about kind of just, if you can just offload your thoughts onto paper, that's a concept in the coaching space. We often call that journaling, just journaling, get all your thoughts out of your head onto a page. You don't have to deal with them anymore because you've let them all out, but you think that's actually a great exercise to become a better writer as well?
Yes, because the more you write, the better you get. And then you can see more of what's coming through. I quite often will write about what the weather's like when I first start. It's been wild wind here for a week and a half now. I'm tired of the wind. It can go away. But it keeps the temperatures cool, so I guess I can't complain too badly. But it's just a way to get me started. Julia Cameron, who is a big writing guru, created them and calls them morning pages. I have done evening pages when I just couldn't get to them in the morning because I've had stuff I had to do like right away when I get up. So I sometimes write evening pages, and I will sit before I go to bed and write all 6 pages and just let it all out. Now, you want to write a novel, you have to have an idea.
Let's talk about that because I know I want to, the way we do this podcast is I'd love to just kind of get some nuggets of advice from people like yourself who had such a breadth of experience. And I know you're a writing coach. And before we get into specific tips on writing, can you just give us a bit of context on what a writing coach is and what's your superpower in that area?
Okay. A writing coach is someone who acts as a guide. I assume that everyone has a story to tell. Not everyone wants to tell their story, but those who do need the opportunity to do it. So they come to me and say, I've got this idea. I said, okay, what do you want to do with this idea? Are you writing mystery, thriller, suspense? Are you writing horror? Are you writing fantasy? Are you writing for children? Are you writing romance? Are you writing something historical? Figure out what genre you're writing in, because there are at least 50. Once you know what you're writing and you have your idea, then I'm going to tell you to think of one person that you want to read what you're writing. Keep that person in mind as you're writing. You're not asking yourself whether they're going to like it. You're writing knowing they're going to like it because you know them very well. You're not going to show them until it's finished.
So a friend, someone you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of someone you know that you want to read this book, because that gives you your age range. That gives you your target audience, whether you're targeting females or males, teens, young adults, older adults. Keep that person in mind and write this like you want them to read it. When it's done, make sure they get a copy. Make sure they know. It may not be the person you dedicate the book to. That person may never understand that they were your muse or your target at the time. It doesn't matter. I write my books because I write the books I want to read.
Yeah.
And that's where I come from. If I don't know about a book or a topic, I research it so that I can be the expert when I write the book. And I can give you an example.
Please.
Out of the Flames was my second standalone book.
Okay.
It has to do with arson. Okay, what I knew about arson, there goes my phone, would have fit on the tip of this pen.
Right.
Meaning I knew zilch. I knew it was started by somebody on purpose. End of story. I also know it's illegal. So I went looking for websites and I found one I thought was pretty good. And then I called a friend of my daughter's and said, what can you tell me about arson? Because she was a firefighter. She said, I just finished a class on arson. I'll bring you the textbook. I'll bring you the notebook that came with it, and I'll bring you my notes. And she was there 20 minutes later with all this stuff. She says, there's a website too. I said, well, let me show you the one that I found and we'll see if yours is better. I found the website they used for her class. So I've got all the materials she had, the website, the notebook, her class notes, and the book. And I spent 3 months learning about arson so I could write this book.
Why did you choose to write a book about arson if you knew nothing about it?
I entered a writing contest that was going to tell me if I had any writing talent. Okay, I already had a poetry book, a self-help book for teens and tweens, or tweens and teens, and a mystery. So I knew I could write, but I'm intrigued by these people who put these little contests there. And they gave me 3 words: clock, certain, and fire. And so when I put them in a story, it just became arson. And I thought, okay. I sent it in. It came back and he said, you need my $790 course because you've got talent. And I'm going, I already knew that.
That's how they get you. That's how I get you.
That's how they get people, which is something I will not. I have a course coming out with a writing book, but I'm not running a contest to suck you in. I'm just going to tell you it's there. But yeah, that's how I ended up writing about arson.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It's a it's lovely to see your process of writing a book and coming from, being a writer as well, but I'm a copywriter, trying to get people to click on something. My job also, I need to be in the headspace of a lot of different people. Some days I need to write as I did copy for a helicopter pilot yesterday, like a helicopter company, a female financial advisor working with divorcees, like a digital nomad who travels the world, and I don't travel the world. And I've got to merge into all these different, mindsets. But the thing that you said of writing to a specific person and knowing what they like, I think that's always great advice for anyone who wants to get a message across. Do you think that there is a balance between writing what you want to write and writing what your audience wants to hear?
Definitely. When I wrote Secrets, which was my first novel, it had 2 different starts before I ever hit on the right one, because I could take them so far and I'm going, this doesn't work. So I tried something different and going, nah, that doesn't work either. And so in order to make it work, I had to figure out who held the secrets and what secrets they were. And when you live in a small town, There are lots of secrets, and you never learn them unless something tragic happens. And in
Wow.
this case, something tragic happened. Someone was murdered. And so, in investigating her murder, all kinds of secrets start coming out of the woodwork. And it took twists and turns that I had not expected. When writers say that the characters take over, they do. And you let them to a point. If they are doing something that is totally out of character, you have to rein them back in. But just let them go, become the character and let them go. It's been nominated for an award. It's in its second edition. I mean, it's still selling. I love it. It's first books don't often do well. And this one did. And Out of the Flames was a follow-up a year later or 7 months later that I had not planned. It just, when this guy came back and said I had talent, and I should sign up with him, I thought, no, I should just take this and write a book. And that's what I did.
I love that. I love that. And so I said at the beginning that you've written 13 books. I got that off your website. Is that right? About 13 books?
Yeah, it needs to be updated. I have 14 books sitting right next to me that I have written.
Nice.
And I have one that I'm working on the edits from my editor so that it can go to my designer soon, because I would like it out the end of May, first part of June.
Okay, sweet.
And
and you said that you have some nonfiction self-help stuff in there and also some fiction, yeah? So this podcast, our audience is mostly going to be the space of, coaches, personal brands, consultants, people who will write like a non-fiction book. Your fiction stuff's been great, because I'm a massive, I love writing fiction more than I do reading it, I think. But I don't know why that is. But in terms of writing more of a personal branded self-help educational sort of book, a lot of people out there know that it's kind of like having the best business card ever. Here's my book.
Actually, no, because your book is not a business card.
Okay.
And don't ever think it is. Business cards, 99% of 95% of them end up in the wastebasket.
Sure.
Books don't. Books live on. And my coach tells me that you can make 18 streams of income from one book.
Do you know what they are?
I can give you 5 right off the top of my head.
Please.
Hardcover, soft cover, audiobook, ebook, MP4 download. That's 5 different audiences you're reaching.
Yep.
My books right now, my first books are still just soft cover and ebooks. I'm working on audio and MP4 for them. But my new books that come out are all hardcover, all soft cover, and all ebooks. And we're working on the other 2. I have to find someone who can read them and do a good job and get them paid and get them going. That's where I am on those.
Amazing. Do you find
I do not have the time to sit and read each of the books into a recording. No.
Yeah. Do you find it's easier to get a book published these days with all the technology available, or is it harder because there's so many people and it's so easy to write a book?
Well, yes and no. Self-publishing is still tough. It really is. Amazon is not the way to go, folks.
Okay.
I have books on Amazon. They are not published through Amazon. And there's a difference. Amazon can only sell where Amazon has warehouses or centers in countries. At one time, I had my own publishing company. I had myself and 4 other authors. One of my authors wrote her book in English and then in Romanian. And I want you to know, she outsold any author I had on her books because she sold them in the Detroit area of Michigan, and she sent them with family back to Romania where they sold like hotcakes. Amazon does not publish Romanian.
Right.
The book designer I had at the time had to actually photograph the pages and put it in as a photo book in order for us to get it published. And Amazon finally, they took down the ebook first, and then they took down the paperback. They said, we don't support this language. We don't want it.
Wow.
So she's now with another company. I closed my company December of 2018 at the end of the year. My book designer said, not doing this anymore. Amazon changed everything to KDP, raised their prices, and actually lowered what you were getting in commissions.
Right. And they can do that, can't they? You know, because people feel like they need them.
Right. Well, yeah, and they feel like Amazon is the only place to go. It's not. You can be self-published. Let me grab the book. I think I have one here. There it is. That was my publishing company logo. It says Lilac Publishing.
Yeah.
Okay. This book went through Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark has a larger distribution than Amazon.
Really? Still?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Because libraries can order from them. Independent booksellers can order from them. And so all of my books go through Ingram Spark, regardless of who the publisher is.
So what do you think of this whole stamp of approval that everyone seems to have? #1 Amazon bestseller on all their self-help books. What are your thoughts on this one as an established writer? Rebecca is pointing to her mouth as if she's vomiting right now.
It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I have a friend who writes fantasy, and she has a YA book called The Right of Wands.
Okay.
And she's written 2 more in the series. There are 7 complete books. But
YA being young adult?
She's way young adult, yeah. And she is way up in Amazon. And she was up for a book award. And she made the top 10 out of 100. And we get to the she's a big Doctor Who fan and has a big following from the Doctor Who crowd for her book. She got more votes than any other author in the top 10. She's got this name on Amazon, and some unknown guy won. Really?
Right.
How does that happen?
How does it happen?
Well, the place that was giving the award gave awards to people who were published through them, and she was not. But he was a total unknown.
Right.
And I'm not saying he didn't have a good book, but it felt like it was kind of rigged because the only person who won that wasn't published by them was in a category where they didn't have any books published by them.
That's interesting. So there might be some politicizing going on behind the scenes at Amazon, and the Amazon bestseller stamp maybe isn't what it used to be, because there's just so many subgenres of subgenres, and you can just get to the tippy top of a very, very small audience, can't you, as well, for a day and then claim it.
And the thing is, if you don't get reviews, you don't get moved up at Amazon. Do you know how many times I've asked people to just write a review? It only has to be one line, guys. And Amazon took all of my reviews for secrets off Amazon when it came out in a second edition. Seriously?
All right.
Same book, but on one of my newer books, they have an author who's deceased, but it was very well known. Her paperback on there as a mass market paperback that I did, and a review from 2014 on this mass market paperback. My book didn't even come out until 2019. Really?
Right.
And I can't get them to take it off. And they've slapped my book on her page. And if people buy my book, they're going to be really disappointed. Because we are totally different writers, writing totally different things. The biggest question I get from writers is, where do you get your ideas? Okay, I told you how I came up with Out of the Flames. I pull them right out of today's headlines. I really do.
Okay.
Target of Vengeance, that's this one. It had to do with stalking. Stalking was a big thing when I wrote it. River's Edge was the start of a series, because everybody kept asking me, when are you going to write the sequel to all of my standalone novels? And I'm going, that won't happen. So I started the Macy McVannell series with River's Edge, which basically introduced you to the cast of characters and solved a cold case. This one, Crossing the Line, has to do with bullying, to the point where what they're doing is illegal and people are committing suicide.
Dark.
And it is dark. And this book, the main character in this is a 16-year-old girl that I wanted to reach into my computer and strangle her.
Yeah.
And somebody said, is that some student you had? I said, no. It's a compilation of students and girls I've run across over the years. It's not any one person. And you can't point to any one person and say, I know who that is, because it's not. I wrote Sanctuary. Sanctuary deals with women in abusive situations and an attorney who is trying her darndest to help them get out of there. So she's got her own little underground system for getting people to safety. A spinoff from that was Escape, and it's a novella or a short story, and it has to do with children being abused and getting them away from the abusive parent because mom died and dad's left. Another spinoff from this one is a children's book. Imagine that. In Sanctuary, the attorney had two children that became her wards because their mother was so badly beaten she was in the hospital and dad was in jail. And so she took them in and she was reading bedtime stories to them out of moonbeams and fairies, collected tales.
Love it.
And I thought, if I don't write this, my readers are going to just shoot me.
That's cool. I like that you did that.
So it's a 64-page book of self-indulgence, because they're my own fairy tales. They're not anything anybody's ever read. It is also my #1 best-selling book.
How funny. How funny is that?
And it continues to be the #1 book. Rescue Mountain. Short story. Nope, it's a novel. I never can remember which is which. It has PTSD, kidnapping, obsession, and narcissism all in this book. If that doesn't cover what's going on in some people's lives today, I don't know what does.
100%. Sounds like the Johnny Depp case.
Yes,
All over the
exactly.
news right now, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Then I wrote this book. This book was 18 years in the making.
G is for
And
gymnastics.
G is for gymnastics. It's an alphabet book. It's for young girls. But I know some young boys who have it and they love it. I wrote it for my granddaughter, who at the time I started writing it was 4 years old. I dedicated it to my daughter and granddaughter, two of my favorite gymnasts, and all you still give to the sport. My daughter coaches high school gymnastics, and her daughter is one of the assistant coaches. But each page is a letter, and it has to do with gymnastics. Okay, when I started writing this, my publisher said, any idiot can write an alphabet book. Why in the world would you want to write an alphabet book? Well, no, any idiot can't. And it took a lot of finagling with letters to come out with something that had to do with gymnastics. You know, what is the Q thing that has to do with gymnastics? Questions. Because all these girls have questions all the time. My daughter was a gymnast for about 3 years. My granddaughter was a gymnast from age 4 to age 10 in club gymnastics, and then went back to it as a freshman in high school and did gymnastics all 4 years. Of course, by that time, her mom was the coach. So that's why she went.
So basically, it just seems like once you get the structure down, once you have a good technique to get ideas on paper, whatever's happening in your life, if you just start writing, you know who you're writing to, you can get something out, because you've just demonstrated about 7 or 8 books that are all very, very different. And really does anyone have an excuse to not start writing a book if they want to do it?
Well, yeah, they can come up with all the excuses in the world. In fact, if they go to my website, which is my name, RebeckaVigus.com, they will find, if they subscribe to my page, that they get a free ebook type thing of 22 reasons writers don't write.
Oh, perfect. How funny.
And it's free. All you got to do is sign up. No big deal. I'm not going to harass you. I'm not going to send you a million emails. I may send you a notice when the next book comes out, but that would be about it. I hate people who do email newsletters that say, buy me, buy me, buy me, because that turns me off. Give me some information on why I should buy from you, but don't just, this is my new book, make sure you get it. No.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I would tell you, I have this new book coming out. This is what concerning. If you're interested, this will be the link to follow.
Yeah, I think that
after that, it's up to somebody else to decide.
Yeah, that authentic style of marketing is just so much better, I feel, rather than just plugging sales down someone's throat. You just got to kind of show them why you're valuable, take time, figure out where they're at in their journey, how much do they know you, and then at the appropriate time, they'll buy something. So that's great. Yeah. That's great. Do you have something else coming out soon?
I have a writing book coming out, I think in June. I'm not sure yet. It depends on when I can get the edits done. I have 2 chapters done, sure. And I need to add some things to it. So right now it's almost there. It's as close as it's been in 2 years. So I'm excited about that. The publisher I had at the time I was working on it refused to do anything that had to do with coaching or writing.
Fair enough.
He didn't do that. If it wasn't fiction, he didn't want it.
Coaching, it's a pretty funny industry. Not everyone's as reputable as they say they are.
Well, he do self-help, but he wouldn't do writing. And I'm going, but it comes under self-help.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think getting those tangible writing tips is going to be really, really helpful for a lot of people. And you did mention you have a course that you're working on as well.
Yeah, it goes with a book that's coming out in June. It's a writing book called Let's Write Fiction, Tears, Fears, Confidence book. And it will take you from setting up your office, because you need a place to write. So set up someplace. I don't care if it's a little alcove underneath the stairs. You need a personal space to write. I don't care if it's the dining room table after the kids are in bed. As long as you have a set time that you're going to use it. It needs to be yours, and people need to know, people you live with, that this is your space to write.
Yep.
But it takes you from that through all the genres, through all the writing tools that are out there, Scrivener and Pro Writing Aid and Grammarly, and all of those are included in the book so that you have a well-rounded look at what's there, and what it costs, or what it cost at the time of the publication. But it talks about character development. It talks about dialect versus dialogue. Dialect is the way you speak. Dialogue is what you say. And it goes right on through and will take you through the editing process that you have to do, sending it to an editor, how to find an editor, what you're going to pay for an editor, all the stuff that goes with it. And then it talks about how you're going to publish. Are you getting an agent and trying for the big 5 in New York? Are you going with a small press? Are you going to do it yourself? Please stay away from vanity presses. They're going to ask you for a ton of money. And then you're only going to get like 89 cents a book. Right. Believe me, I've done this. I know that. Did not realize that you didn't have to pay for your book unless you're self-publishing. And that's really something beginners of all ages fall into.
Yeah, I bet. They make it look very appealing. Well, Rebecka, that sounds like an amazing course. And I'd love you to email me as much info as you've got about it when you can. And we'll plug that to the audience as well, because I think those step-by-step guides are so helpful for someone like me who's just got a lot of ideas but doesn't know how to actually process it. But that's all the time we got for today. So Rebecka Vigus, really, really interesting talking to you. I didn't know how much fiction you'd done, and it's super interesting to see how you come up with your ideas. And I think it's really inspiring that you can just say, I've got 2 chapters done, but the book's going to be out in June. You know, you're
well, they're all written. All 15 chapters are written, It's just a matter of editing them now.
Right. Got it. So it sounds like you've absolutely nailed this process, and I think you're a great person to learn from. So we'll be plugging your website and everything, and anything you want us to send out. That ebook, the 22 Reasons Why Writers Don't Write, sounds really interesting as well. I'd love to see it and see what I'm doing wrong. So for everyone listening, thank you so much. Rebecka Vigus, thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Alex.
It's been lovely having you. Anyone listening or watching live, I will be back in a couple days' time with another episode of Coaches to the Moon. And until then, thanks for watching. Much love and peace.